Today we are going to write a blog post on design. We're going to try to write 2 if we can. For you, first topic that I have in mind, designers design their stuff, right? And then we make prototypes, we build prototypes, and then we send it out to engineering. How could you improve that communication process? What could you include that would A, help you figure out all the edge cases so the back and forth reduces? B, think about your design, break down your design like a developer would, like an engineer would, and not having surprises like, no, this is not what I meant. How many of you had that situation where you were like, this is not what I meant when I put this piece in this design, it meant something else? Or they completely forget to pick a minute feature or minute things that were really important to your design. When I start out to write is I have some idea, so I'm going to put down exactly what I wrote to you about. I like to start with either problem statement. Once you have a problem in mind, then other people who have that problem are convinced that there's something valuable to read. But if you don't come up with a problem statement, then it's more of an artistic piece. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's how I think about it. What happens now? Either you will get a ping from engineering again saying, hey, something is missing. This is problem number 1 that I want to address, right? Second thing that problem happens is follow-up happens is miscommunication. An example of miscommunication that Dinesh has shared in the chat is like microinteractions. Another thing I wanted to go was error states. It just takes too much time, right? Design is not executed faithfully. Solutions that I have in mind that I really want to talk about. So handoff as a process, right? What I mean by handoff should be a process and not a single step or event. Include engineering early. I learned was include QA early. QA is quality analysis. Some of them have automated testing, some have manual testing. State diagrams, right? So UI has states and they change based on interactions. This actually is swimlane diagrams. We'll come to that. We'll talk about what these are. Component decomposition, right? This one is specifically for visual details. And this one is for your micro interactions. This one is general, like building shared understanding. Because without shared understanding of why you're doing this, why this is happening, all of the things later on become harder. So the first important part in handoff is that we do build shared understanding, then we take care of visual details. And the last bit I wanted to talk about was UI copy sheets that we do today. I won't have a better way, but that's what I'm going to share, which is for UI copy and localization. And look at our awesome chat and what you folks have to say. Alrighty. Dinesh says some dev folks will ask for flowchart. Yes, that is. So swimlane diagram is an example of flowchart, Dinesh. That's a beautiful example. We're going to see how we can turn a simple flowchart into much better deal, right? Who am I addressing here? I want to start because I don't know what tone to take. Whom am I addressing here? So audience is designers, PMs, and design managers. What kind of things do you folks talk about at your workplace when you have these issues that we just spoke about? Just add these, what you see the horror here, I added, right? Sometimes I just add these emotional cues, notes for myself when I'm writing. Sometimes I would come back and look at whether this sentence justifies that emotion, whether that brings it up. Do I need to add a meme or add another sentence to sort of bring that out? We spend a lot of time perfecting pixels, making prototypes, writing documentation. In the end, we receive a build which looks nothing like our design. And you're like, oh God, what do I do now? Breathing heavily is what I want here. I'm thinking of memes already. Problem phase, your design has feasibility issue with technology we use. We have to do a lot of backend changes for design. Perfect. We can't make things 1 week time frame, which we have to go live left. Actually, Shreya, that's beautifully put. Thank you, Shreya, so much. I'm going to copy paste that entire thing here from the chat because it's just so perfectly. Shreya OP. Yes. Shreya OP in the chat, folks. Shreya OP in the chat for sure. Shreya has helped us so much today. All right, so now I think I'm done with my problem statements. and now I can bring in the solutions, right? And remember, this is the first draft. And before we go to next part, we're gonna quickly take the chat and what you folks have to say. So Udit Shakya says, hello Udit, welcome back. Nice to see you again. Talking about communication problem with developers, suppose I'm working on freelance projects to make a landing page and my client hasn't hired any developer yet, so I can decide what things to include in. My design, maybe the developer they will hire may not have enough skills. That's beautiful question, Udit. So what Udit is saying is at times, let's say you're working as a freelancer designer and the client has not hired developers, so you can't check feasibility with them. So what can you do to kind of include the documentation for the developer in the future, so when they look at it, they can understand what was intended, and maybe you can figure out some of the things yourself, the kind of feedback that a developer would give you. The swim lane diagrams will help us there a lot. They will help us go to states, several states, when we start mapping states. We'll get to that soon. Another funny one which happened, I think your design does not follow material guidelines, colors, and font style. It is a custom style guide. We can't do that. Why? Who? Why? What? Siddharth says, a common theme across companies I've worked with is both parties, design and dev, lacking an empathy for each other. Having been on both ends, I think there's a scope for improvement there. Completely agree, Siddharth. I think, and I hope this blog post can help bridge some of that gap for designers. And yeah, there's a lot of work to be done there. There's a lot of work to be done there.
As I was saying, we're having a limited...
Speak up a little bit louder. I'm hard of hearing.
He's hard if he's an old man.
Okay, as I was saying, right now we are having...
Talk louder.
Okay, our prices have never been lower.
Son, you have to talk louder.
Never been lower.
Louder, son!
Bud Liquor! Our prices have never been lower!
Okay, stop.
Dinesh, we have a lot of differences between developers and design team about interaction and about font and color. It's about shapes and interactions. Okay, so they don't agree that this kind of interaction should be there. If you have a disagreement with your engineering team on how an interaction should be done, they're giving you feedback as domain experts who build UI and CUI day in, day out, right? So the idea there is to build that communication, shared understanding. I think but it is related to hand off. It's not related to documentation, but you're right in terms of related to hand off. Because what we talked about in terms of building shared understanding, this is what you're pointing at. And this is what Siddharth pointed at as well, that without that shared understanding, the empathy becomes difficult. Coming back to this, I'm going to include the point that Dinesh spoke about. I'm struggling with the word build, wants to design an interaction, but then I don't want to say disagreements can emerge over how design team wants to design or design team wants to execute. Execute is a better word. I think that's a good point that Dinesh and Siddharth had pointed out. I tried to include it here. So this is one of the ways, right? You do frequent feasibility checks, like you just, whether the design is ready, not ready. So this will give them time to understand, be on the same page as you. This allows them to give feedback more frequently, so you don't have to avoid surprises. So this is a short note on involving QA there. Then I want to talk about component decomposition. Images, right? I want to draw this diagram. So in this diagram, what I want to show is like how you thought about a component, how a developer may look at it. Anil Kumar says, sometimes developers or product managers, they themselves change the design without even informing you. Get to know just before the release from CTO, or just, oh man, that sucks. I know, Sunny, that just is horrible, like when that happens.
Come. Have some. Shut up.
Usually I just, I haven't found a great way to handle that. Just by, I think so far I just keep requesting, please inform, right? So I can keep my documentation in touch, just inform, right? When you're changing that decision. He follows up, I think designers should at least have a little knowledge on how design gets converted into code.
Yes.
Has it been proved scientifically?
Well, for the moment, it's just hypothesis, I confess.
Sure, it helps a lot, but I wouldn't sweat about it too much. It helps a ton, like don't get me wrong, it helps a ton to understand, but it shouldn't be a roadblocker in terms of you delivering great design or building this communication. Jha says reviews with engineer also allows them to start thinking about waste or implementation much sooner rather than waiting for designs to get done and frozen, often solving things like performance, Beautifully written. Security and edge cases in parallel. You know what? You know what we're gonna do? I'm gonna use that entire terminology, this entire thing, in rewrite this in my language in the article. Thank you so much, folks. This is so much easier. I should write all my blog posts with you folks, because you folks are nailing the emotionality and the vocabulary on point. Love it, love it. Shreya says some developers are also good at that. There's just changes in design as yes. I love those developers, and especially at Headout, that is what I appreciate about developers. Right? They take an extra interest in design, and planning to write a piece about ambition and ambiguity for early career designers and devs soon. Brilliant topic. Link us up. This is what I mean by decomposition. I'm trying to zoom in. What you see here is calendar, right? These dates. This is done by Nitish Yadav. Nitish Yadav is his handle on Instagram as well. Go check him out. He does amazing type stuff, and I also have a YouTube video with him on this channel where we discuss introduction to typography and type design. You can check it out here once I post this live. And each of these dates now have certain state. You can see this discounted state. You can see sold out state. You can see other states as well. How do you describe this, right? This is construction of the component, and this is construction of the element itself. So we are decomposing this entire piece into its components, composition. So we're gonna include this kind of an example there, right? And this is what I mean by swim lane diagrams. We're gonna come to this in a second. That Shreya added, Shreya Shekhar added that some developers can add ideas, etc. I want to add that here. I'm saying before and after, so I can use that kind of visual as well. So as you can see, I just dump out ideas. I just vomit on the page, like literally, like there's no structure or whatever here except some headlines. We started with these bullet points, and you can see how this is evolving, right? The second thing I want to say after decompose your components is let them swim and flow. I'm just adding random headlines. I'm just having fun, folks. This is a swim lane diagram. So this is user, right? So you can see flowcharts have standard things that there's a shape for start. Then there are arrows which depict direction, that this is the logic flows in. Then this shape is specifically, diamond shape is used for decision, which means there's an input, right? This is the input. Now there can be 2 or 3 possible outcomes. For example, the outcome of this question is the date available. Like, so I'm asking, okay, user opens the full calendar. This is what user's action does. What does interface do? Interface, I think, should have shown, this is what the interface will do, but depending on this logic. Drawing this diagram not for the calendar, we're drawing this diagram for the individual date item. For each of these things, we are writing this logic, that each date on the calendar, we go through this logic. So we pick up the first date. Let's say it's 1st July. Now, 1st July, is that date available for this given experience that you're trying to book, or this flight you're trying to book? The 2 options, either yes, then that this trajectory takes place, or no, then this trajectory takes place, right? If it's no, then both things happen, or you check on this case. First thing you check is the date applicable or not? If it's not, then you show not applicable. Or in another case, like from here, this should have descended from here, actually, not from here. This diagram is slightly wrong. Is the date sold out? If it's not applicable, in that case is sold out. If it's yes, then you show sold out. But if the date is available, then what happens, right? These are the states of the calendar. These are the states of the date. Remember, this is decomposition, folks. These are just the date items. But when they come together, they become a calendar, which has its own logic, UI logic. Just 7 days are there, showed this version, right? If you have dates are available after a few months, then show upcoming months. This is the upcoming months calendar. So it says earlier dates not available. So you don't have to show empty calendar, right? Otherwise, they'll be empty for months. So we just skip those. Just say October 2020 is the latest dates we have, folks. Not beyond that, right? So this is how the entire logic is done here. We're going to include that in our blog post. But before we get there, we have tons of comments on the chat. So we're going to take those. Shreya Shekhar says, next blog post, how to design better product cards for e-commerce. Got a lot of pointers from your Headout product card case study. Ah, nice. Awesome. Shreya, looking forward to that blog post. My topic on the blog, atomic habits and use in daily design iterations. Love these topics, folks. Link me up, hit me up in DMs when you write these blog posts. I'm looking forward to such interesting topics you folks are writing. Next blog post, behavioral economics, Google Pay versus Paytm. Where are you folks from? That is amazing topic. Shreya says, great details in your decomposition. Super work. Got a lot to learn. I'm definitely going to use something like that at work. Some companies put these detail in business requirement doc. Yep, some people put it in PRDs as well. I don't think they belong in PRDs. PRDs are a far different job than anything else. So Akshay, why not? Of course, AXAAY, Akshay, yeah. Akshay. Why not? Cool. Thanks for clarifying that. Mohammed say thank you for such content. Thank you for watching, folks. Thank you for watching. Like, you folks make my day. Kid you not, I have the best audience in the whole goddamn world. I want to show different example than what I showed you, right? In the decomposition, I'll use calendar because I think that's a lovely, brilliant example. But I want to maybe, devise a more common one. You know how you open an app and it has a loading state? And how that then loading state then turns to fulfill state and then images load, etc. So I want to describe that. Oh, what I want to add is add image load and asynchronous data load. If you understand this word, I suck at spelling, folks. How many of you understand this word asynchronous? I want to, if you don't understand, then I will maybe include that. Super exciting chat today. Oh wow. Okay, Dinesh says all credits goes to my mentor Karthi. Oh, nice. Are you talking about Karthi from Experian, Dinesh? Difference between Medium post and self-website blog post? Not much. Medium helps you find discovery. On your own website, you will own the SEO forever. Dinesh says, yes, it's from Karthi from Experience. I'm doing PM diploma with her and along with Madhuri. Karthi is one of the most inspirational folks I've met. Me and her, when we met, we could not stop talking. Ask her first time we met. Back to our writing, folks, because we have very little time, so we're gonna finish this up. And there will be part 2 because this is obviously not done. I will. What I really want to show you, folks, in the second part is the editing process. Editing process is mind blowing, folks. Like, this is just vomiting. Like, this is not where the wow of the article happens, right? The wow of the article comes during the editing process, and you will see how powerful that can be. And we're going to discuss that in part 2 of this live stream. So we're going to look at this and quickly describe in words that this happens, or else, right, we make a swimlane diagram. Solutions. Let's go back to our UI copy sheet. Oh, we have forgotten UI copy. Yes, my friends, we have forgotten UI copy. How can I forget that? One of the UI copy sheets we use, all the error and success messages will come here. So for example, this is a title called guest details, right? Under guest details section, component, we have a field called mobile number, and there's an event on blur, and condition is if it's invalid. There's a message type error, and this is the error, cannot be a future date, right? And then all of these are translated in each language. Now the problem, this sheet, what this solves is gives you this vast detail, where does this belong, on what sequence does it happen. This is also, because this will, if we start doing swimlane diagrams for this, it will become too much, because one field can have 30 different types of errors. So this is how we tame those. Any other tool, hit me up, and also watch this live stream on YouTube where I wrote this article. What about callback, people? What about engagement? Who? Why? What? I have about 800 words. 800 words in 1 hour, 15 minutes. I would be faster if I wasn't talking out loud, and typically this takes like half an hour, 15 minutes.
We possess a gigantic network of information to which we have almost no access.
So in the next live stream, folks, we're gonna edit this one, which will be the weekend after next, because next weekend we have a live stream of part 2 of redesigning my personal brand live here on YouTube. So make sure you are subscribed for that. And when we edit it, that's when we're gonna have a better idea of how to position this article. Positioning is very important. There are 1,000 titles I can give it, but I like to do that in the end when I have a better idea of the tone I'm taking, of the direction I'm taking with this article, and how in future it could evolve. And that helps me do the writing as well. I know how it will be hanging with her and your podcast buddy, Madhuri. Podcast buddy, I like that term. Akshay says, I'm doing freelancer UI UX design sprints from past 6 years. You have to prove yourself by portfolio and case studies for people to give you job or projects. So true, Akshay. Truth has been spoken. Portfolio and past work. Proof of work, folks. Proof of work. You have to prove that you can work. That's almost an end to an end of our live stream. Thank you so much for joining in. And if you found it valuable, make sure you join me in the next live stream next weekend. Thank you for watching. Akshay says, hi Sid, I'm late. I did not get notified with the reminder on. That is strange. YouTube has this issue. It does not remind everyone. That is why I posted on my IG as well. I hope I posted on my... Oh, I did not post on my IG. That is super bad. Folks, thank you so much for reminding me. Actually, I should post on IG.
Life खराब हो गया, इतना life खराब हो गया मेरा. Have some. Shut up!